Good day, this is your word for the day from Anchor Church in Tunzini. Today I'd like to talk about adoption. You get different kinds of adoptions. When my daughter and her husband with kids immigrated to the UK last year, I had adopted two big dogs. I didn't really want them because I wasn't planning on having two extra dogs because I've already got two Jack Russells. At first they were a real pain in the neck, and I was actually looking for a home for the younger one. It took a couple of months, but now I love them. And they love me. They can't wait for me to come home as if they've always been with me. So now I want them here. And then I remembered many years ago a friend of mine and his wife desperately wanted a baby, but struggled to fall pregnant. Eventually they did have a little boy, a baby boy. The pregnancy didn't go well, so the doctor warned them not to try and have any more kids. So when the little boy was just a toddler, they decided to adopt another child. And looking at different options, they decided on a little boy, one who would make a good brother for their only son that they had. And then when this little boy, the new one, the adopted one, was old enough to understand, his dad set him down and he told him that he was adopted. So that he would know and grow up and know that he was actually an adopted son. Well, at first the little boy was very upset because his brother was his parents' own son and he wasn't. He was adopted. But in wisdom his dad sat him down and told him the whole story. Told him about how they struggled to fall pregnant, and then the baby came. In those days you only knew what you were getting once the baby was born. You wouldn't know beforehand whether it was a boy or a girl. You wouldn't know if the baby was normal, what the baby would look like. And so he explained all this to him. And then he said to him, but with you, it was different. We chose you. We wanted another son. When we started looking around, there were many options. But when we saw you, we loved you. We just loved you. And our minds were made up to choose you. There were other boys, but we chose you from among them. This was all the little guy needed to hear. From that day on, he was proud to be the adopted son. Then there are many cases where people adopt a child to give them a chance in life. And many of these kids are handicapped and really would have no life if they were not adopted. So they get adopted mostly because of a good deed. But the most amazing adoption is when God adopts. If you're a child of God, you should know that God loved you before He adopted you into His family. Not to do anyone a favor, not to give you a chance in life, not because you are struggling in life, not because of your status, rich, poor, whether you have a family or whether you're an orphan. He adopted you because He loves you unconditionally. And you did not come cheap. Jesus died to make this adoption possible. Romans 8:15 says, so we have not received a spirit that makes us fearful slaves. Instead, we received God's Spirit when He adopted you as His own children, and now we call Him Abba Father, Daddy. That's a good English word for Abba Father would be Daddy. John 15:16 says, you did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit, fruit that will last, so that whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you. He did this because we're precious in His sight. We don't always remember that. We need to be reminded that we have nothing to be ashamed of. We can walk tall because we are sons and daughters of the King of Kings. And on top of that, we co-heirs with Christ. Romans 8 verse 16 and 17 says, the Spirit Himself bears witness with our spirit that we are children of God. And if children, then heirs, heirs of God and joint heirs with Christ. If indeed we suffer with Him, that we may also be glorified together. I wanted to remind you of this today. So I want you to go in peace and daily walk, talk and act like a child of the King of Kings, because that's who you are. Amen.